Hello everyone. So today we are going to do a small practical, not a small, it will be a longer one. So I'm going to divide this practical in three parts, and I will explain you that what we are going to do today. So before starting the session, I will suggest you, if you haven't watched my previous two videos on Ncbl, please go on my YouTube channel and please complete these two videos so that you can understand this upcoming session which I'm going to deliver. And so let's start. So first let me explain you the workflow of this practical. So what we are going to do, first of all, if you have watched my last Ansible session, so over there I used a local machine at both the side, but this time I'm using here AWS cloud here. So what I'm doing, I'm using a local machine. This is my local machine, and it's a Red Hat 8 Linux. RHEL 8 is a version of Linux of Red Hat. So that local machine will be our controller node, and we are going to launch the complete infrastructure on AWS cloud using the EC2 service by Ansible. We are going to use Ansible to do a provisioning of instance on top of AWS. After completing the provisioning part, I will configure the Docker inside this instance, and then I will launch the web server here, and from here the client can access the web server. After that, we will use the Ansible to terminate the complete infrastructure and clean up this managed node. So this video is divided into three parts. In first part, we will do a provisioning of operating system on AWS, means instance, and after provisioning of operating system, then we are going to configure Docker inside this and launch the web server and give the client access of this web server. Then after that, we will terminate this complete infrastructure. So this practical is divided into three parts, so there will be three parts. So in this part we will cover the provisioning of operating system. So let's start, and let me explain you step by step what we are going to do. So here we are going to use roles. We are going to use roles in Ansible, and it is a very good thing to manage the code in Ansible. And we will see that how we do configure the Ansible file, configure file, how we write a code in Ansible configuration file. Then we'll see the inventory. Then we will finally run this playbook. In this playbook, we will only just write that run this role for me, and it will run the complete role for us. So let's see step by step. So first of all, let me show you this configuration file. So so everything is inside this directory etc, and inside etc I have one directory called Ansible. Okay, and here I have kept the Ansible configuration file. This is the inventory location I am keeping here. It's inventory is I am keeping inventories here. All the roles I'm going to keep here, and this is my key which I'm going to use to login inside the instance. And also I want to say that when you go here on AWS, so here you should create a IAM user, so that in that you give the power of admin, you can give it full access. So I already done that part. I will show you. So here I am using the Ans2. Okay, Ans2 key, Ans2 username I am using, and this user have the full access of AWS, full access of this account. He can do anything in this account. Okay, so let me show you. There is no instance running. So you can check here, no instance running. So let me show you the configuration file, what I have written in it. So here you can see inventory. I had given the location of inventory and private key that I already shown you. That user is ec2-user true, we are giving the root power by saying this, and this is the code which we write in the configuration file, so that it can do a login, do the provision, that configuration part in AWS instance. Okay, let me go out and pwd. So this is the location. So you can see this is the inventory location. We'll go inside inventory. You can create inventory anywhere. Here ec2.py, I'm not using this one. For this, if you want to use this, you have to make this file executable, but I'm not using this file. I'm not using this ec2.py file, and I will say that if you want to use, you can use it, and it is very powerful. So when you use this, it will give the complete AWS instance information, AWS account information, which you will get when you do the provisioning. So I'm not using this. I have created my own customization to retrieve the IP and store in the inventory. So let me take you inside the role. What is there inside role? So here it is. So here this code is for, this role is for the provisioning. This role is to configure inside the AWS instance, but this one going to configure only a web server inside the AWS instance. So we are not going to use this one. We are going to use this role. This role will configure the Docker inside AWS instance and launch the web server inside the Docker container. And then we'll see how we can terminate the complete infrastructure which we have built using the Ncbl. So we are going to terminate. So this role we are going to use. For this practical, I'm using this role. So other roles you don't focus, don't think of that part, just focus on this part only. And this is my playbook. I will run this playbook, and in this playbook I have written the role name, and it will run the complete role. Let me show you the playbook. So in a local host, this is the local machine, so local host will run the role and the role name is this one. Okay, so let me take you inside the role. So here defaults handlers we use. So if we want to notify that any change is done, then run the handlers. And task, inside this all the task which that we wrote, I have written, and here variables we write, and I have written the access key and my private key of AWS instance inside this variable, so I can't show you right. Okay, so let me show you the example in which format I have written. So this is the format. Okay, I have written access. You can write the variable name, you can give anything. I have written for simplicity and understanding purpose, I have written access key and secret key, and given my access key and secret key. This you will get at the time of creating a IAM user. So this is this you get only a one time only. So I will suggest, if you are creating an IAM user, so please note it down somewhere and use this access key and secret key. And okay, this one is ID, sorry, and I'm using a unique ID. This unique ID is for the instance I'm using, so that it can be used for idempotence. So what is idempotence? Means if anything is not changed, means if any code and something is not changed, then Ansible will want to run that particular code, that particular task. So for this I'm using this ID, so it won't launch the instance again and again. So I'm giving the unique ID here, so you have to change every time. For one instance we can give one unique ID, and it lasts for 24 hours, so you can't use it again the same name for the different instance. So I've given the name task1. Okay, and let me take you inside the task. So here is the main.yml file. In every directory which you are seeing here, the folder, the file name will be main.yml only. So you have to write everything inside this. So let me explain you the code, complete code, step by step. So first of all, we are creating the security group so that we can do SSH connection and give the HTTPD port number access to the particular instance and to all the clients or the particular client which you want. So what I have done, I have given the name to that security group, and you can give the description, anything you want. So VPC ID, you will get the VPC ID from here. I will show you. Launch. So for every account there is the AWS will give the individual that VPC ID. So this is the VPC ID. Okay, and here I'm using access key and secret key. Without access key and secret key you can't log in inside the AWS account, so we are using a third-party tool. So for this they want the access key and secret key. So already I have shown you that in variable I have written this access key and secret key. So this is the variable name, so they will call the access key and secret key, and this will paste over here. And in which region you want to launch or to create this security group, so you have to give this security group a region. You have to give the region, in which region. So I am using the Mumbai region in India. Protocol, which protocol? TCP. So inside TCP there we have port number 80, and SFO SSH we have 22. By default, Ansible use SSH for the connectivity, and we are using the cider range. We are giving the all the IP access. It is not a good practice to give all the IP access so that anyone can access the server. So you can give the particular IP here and the description. Okay. Now we are going to launch the instance. So provisioning Ec2 and giving the name, key name. Okay, this I already shown you that I am using a Prakash.pam file. So for login logging into the AWS instance, you need that PAM file, .pem file. Instance type, which instance type you want, T2 micro, T2 small, T2 large, whichever you want. I will show you that part also. So when you launch any, when you select any operating system, here they give the type. This is the instance type. So I'm using T2 micro. And region, in which region you want to launch this instance. So I have given this region name, and the image, I will show you the image name also. Here you can see a region. Here also region came AP South 1. Okay, and the image name, you will get the image name from here. Here is the image name. I am using a Red Hat, so this is the image name I took from here and paste it here. Okay. Cancel. Okay. Now we are giving the subnet ID we are going to give here. Okay, before this we are giving a group, which security group you want to use. So I have given the name here above, the security group name. Okay, where it is, let me, okay, this one you can see here. This security group I am using for this instance. How many numbers of instance you want, or this type of instance? I want only one. If you want 2, 3, you can type here. Subnet ID, what is this subnet ID? So AWS gives us 3 subnet IDs. So this is the subnet ID. So I am using this one. You can check it. Okay, public IP, yes, I want to assign the public IP, and then we give the access key and security key by calling the variable ID. I already told that every instance have unique ID, so I am passing a variable from this file and it will come here. Instance tag you can give, and it will store the output in the X variable, and I'm retrieving the IP from this keyword. And then at the time of terminating the instance, we want IP and unique ID also. So mainly the unique ID of that instance. So what we are doing, that we are copying this unique ID from here and pasting it in terminate role, in a terminate role. You can see here in terminate role variables. In terminate roles we are pasting it, and finally we what we are doing, we are inserting the IP inside the inventory. So it will, from this variable, this keyword, sorry, from this keyword it will retrieve the IP of this instance and it will store in this file. This file is AWS underscore IP. This is not there inside the inventory. It will dynamically create, and inside that it will paste this or keep this in IP of this instance. Okay, so this is it for provisioning of complete operating system or the instance on AWS. So we'll start and we'll run this role. Okay, so I have to come outside of this and yeah, it is. So I have to run this role. So to run this role I am going to use this playbook. So before running the code, this playbook, I will say that Ansible is not mainly meant for provisioning purpose. Provisioning we mainly use the Terraform, because Terraform have the more flexibility and more options as we compare with Ansible. Ansible can also do, but Ansible is not meant for that. Ansible is meant for configuration. If you want to do configuration, so for that you can use the Ansible. So let me run this role. I'm going to run this playbook and it will run the role. Ansible will run the playbook and the playbook name is ec2.yml. Okay. So first it will create a security group. Okay, so let me debug the error. So let me run again this playbook. I have only changed the unique ID, so let me run. So there was some error in my credentials, so I just copy paste again. So let me run again the entire code. Okay, so Ansible, run the playbook, and the playbook name is ec2pro.yml. So now it's creating the security group. It's created. Now provisioning the instance or operating system, and this instance will use the above security group which we have created. And the IP that we received or retrieved is this one, and the command code is copied, and that ID, and then that IP is then saved into the inventory. So let me check that is the instance launched or not. So you can see your instance launch and the IP is same, as we can see here. Okay, and let me check the security group also. This one, security group, and here it is, the name which we are given, task2 sg. So instance is using this security group. In this security group we have given the access of SSH and port number 80 for HTTP protocol. So let me check the inventory part also. For that we have to go out. So this is the inventory location which we have given. Here one file will get created. Let me go inside this. This is the file you can see here, aws.ip_ip. Let me open this, or cat command we can use to check. See that you can see here the IP is added in the inventory, and the complete provisioning is done by Ansible. Now in next video we'll configure the complete Docker inside the this instance, and launch the web server inside this so that client can access the web server. And after this we'll do terminate this complete infrastructure. So that's it in this part. We'll see you in next part. So thank you.